Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. Let's get started. There's a lot I want to go over. First and foremost, before I continue with what I was going to talk about, congrats to Alex Smith retiring yesterday. Had a very good NFL career. He was a very good quarterback, very good player, especially under Jim Harbaugh and Andy Reid. Um, Now, is he a Hall of Famer? I would sadly say no. For me, you just have it's the reason why I would put Philip Rivers in the Hall of Fame, even though he has good numbers and all that. It's just you got to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion, for me, in order for you to be considered in the Hall of Fame. Specifically at the quarterback position, you got to win a Super Bowl, and I mean, since he never did, and that's why I wouldn't put him in there. But nevertheless, great career, great comeback from that injury. He could have easily just hung up his cleats then and there, but he decided to make a comeback, and that was good for him to lead Washington to the playoffs this year. That was very cool. So he'll be missed, and now Washington has to deal with Fitzpatrick and Heinicke for this year. Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, so now this is a draft special. What I'm gonna do here is I'm not gonna go over every single position, but for certain positions, like maybe like a quarterback or wide receiver or something like that, one where there's like a lot of good ones, like I'll go over who my top 10 is and then where I think they'll get drafted. So let's get started with the quarterbacks. So Trevor Lawrence will go number one, obviously, to Jacksonville. No need to discuss any more there. Zach Wilson, I still have going second to the Jets, even though I'm still hopeful, cross my fingers that he'll slip to the 49ers at three. Um, Justin Fields is my third best QB, but I don't have him going third. That'll be Trey Lance, who's my fourth best QB on the board. Um, for some reason, I just feel like they're not going to draft Justin Fields, which I mean, especially since Ohio State didn't run as much stuff to what Shanahan would like to run, so that's why I feel like it won't be him. But then it's just like Lance is obviously better than Mac Jones. To trade up all the way to three for a non-mobile. It's just like I wouldn't buy the meat and all that saying it's Mac Jones. I wouldn't buy it until I see it. So I got Trey Lance at three and then four. I know the Falcons most likely should either trade the pick or just take Kyle Pitts. But with their hometown QB following them, I just had them taking Justin Fields. I just cannot. This is the perfect opportunity for them to grab him and then mentor him, learn from a good QB Matt Ryan. So that when he takes over, he'll be good. And then if Justin Fields ends up being a great QB, then since he's already in his hometown Atlanta, he's most likely not going to leave anywhere for agency, so you can keep him for the long haul. So I feel like that's the best fit there. Mac Jones, I have him going at 15 to New England. So therefore, New England doesn't have to trade to get one, which would be nice for them. I know Denver could use a QB, but I know they don't like Mac Jones, and I don't blame them. So therefore, he falls down to New England, which since certain people in the media compare him to Tom Brady, which I don't get at all. I mean, if he's like that, then Belichick's going to want to have that as his next QB. Um, Next QB, the sixth best QB. This is kind of interesting. A lot of people, have Kyle Trask or even David Mills from Stanford, but I'm going to go with Kellen Mond here from A&M. I think he's the sixth best QB on the board. Especially since Chris Sims even had him higher than Justin Fields and Trey, and I think Trey Lance, like he had him in his top five. So it's like it just shows that he's a pretty good QB. So I have him going in the second round, and I have Denver picking him up in the second round with pick number 40. So that way he can kind of bring in that competition for Drew Lock. Because if I had a choice between Kellen Mond at a later draft pick or Mac Jones the first round, I'd rather take Kellen Mond. Um, I, so I feel like that, and Kellen Mond, like he's a good athlete, and the thing that separates Kellen Mond from Drew Lock is Kellen Mond's not going to be. It's not the type of quarterback. He's just going to like put the ball in harm's way a lot. He's kind of the more conservative type, which would be a difference from Drew Lock, who takes too many risks and makes too many turnovers. So I feel like that's why they're going to go Kellen Mond there. My next quarterback I have sixth best is Kyle Trask. He's very good with weapons, I should say, because without his best players in the bowl game, he sucked. So whichever team he goes on, not only is he going to have to sit for a year or two and learn, but he's going to have to make sure he has good weapons. I don't know if that'll end up happening or not, but we'll see. I have Chicago taking him in the second round at the 52nd overall pick, which some of you may say that's way too high. He should probably be gone by then, and I can understand that. But I'm gonna have him fall into Chicago, and Chicago will get him, and basically potentially ruin it because unless Chicago gets a bunch of good wide receivers and improves their own line, Kyle Trask won't do much for them. So then the next quarterback I have, he's my eighth quarterback, is David Mills from Stanford. He's kind of had this nice quiet rise. Like he wasn't in my top 10 when this first all started, but now he's kind of crept up and up. And again, he could be that sixth QB. It wouldn't shock me at all. But right now I have him as eighth, and I have him going in the second round with this last pick in the second round to Tampa Bay at 64. So that way they can get their quarterback of the future and he can learn from Tom Brady. And then when Tom Brady retires, he'll have all those good weapons to throw to. So it's a good situation for him. And then my ninth best quarterback, I have that being Jamie Newman from Wake Forest / Georgia. I really wish he would have played at Georgia. That would have been nice to see how he would have done there with with better athletes and all that better pro talent than Wake Forest. But I still, and I definitely feel like he's definitely more at this point for the rest of the QBs at this point. This is definitely more for a project QB where it may take like years and years, like maybe towards the end of the rookie contract before I would feel more comfortable with him succeeding in an NFL type of thing. Um, but I would have Jamie Newman going to in the third round, and I have him going to the Washington football team because with Fitzpatrick's obviously not the future with his age, and Heineke, I just don't see him as the future either. He could be nice for the backup type of thing, but I just don't see his future. So that way, they get Jamie Newman here, they play Fitzpatrick for a year, if they can keep Fitzpatrick for another year, or they go Heineke, fine, and then in like let's say 3 years, then Jamie Newman could potentially take over. And then for my 10th QB, this is kind of a hard one, and it's a bunch of different opinions from everyone. Because some people may have Shane Buechele from SMU, some people may have Ian Book from Notre Dame, some people may have other QBs. I'm gonna go with Sam Ellinger here from Texas, um, and I have him going to an interesting place here. You may kind of laugh at this, but I have him going the fifth round. So basically, I feel like there won't be a QB going in the fourth round at all. In the fifth round, I have him going to the Philadelphia Eagles with the 150th pick. And the reason why is because he's a very similar QB to Jalen Hurts. Not saying Samuel Elliott is going to necessarily take over for Jalen Hurts, whether he succeeds or not, but let's say Jalen Hurts gets injured. Then you have Samuel Elliott, who's a very similar quarterback um, to Jalen Hurts that can come in unless unless they want to go Joe Flacco, not have him be just a mentor, but he can also learn from him as well. And I feel like he can potentially be just as successful as a Jalen Hurts. Um, so that's it for my top 10 QBs. Now I'm going to go top 10 wide receivers. So number one, I have Jamar Chase as my number one wide receiver. Now some people have Devontae Smith, and I understand why, but let's face it, Jamar Chase, like if he would have played this year, well, technically if he would have played this year, his numbers would have been the same, but because of the bad quarterback play from LSU. But compared to his last year that he played in college football 2019, I feel like they're both very similar. It's like the only difference between Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase is that Jamar Chase didn't win the Heisman. That's the only difference. Other than that, I feel like there's the plus Chase has better size and all. So I'm gonna go Chase with 7 to Detroit. And then second wide receiver off the board, Devontae Smith, Alabama. I have him going to Carolina at 8. I feel like that he's a very good weapon there. My third best wide receiver is just Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. I have him sneaking down to Philly. They can finally get a good wide receiver there. The fourth best wide receiver I have is Rashad Bateman. Now, some people will say it's Tooney or even Elijah Moore, but I'm going to go with Bateman. And I have him going to Chicago at the 20th pick. My fifth best wide receiver is Kadarius Toney from Florida. I have him going to Baltimore, which would be a very good get for Baltimore. My eighth best wide receiver I have is Elijah Moore from Ole Miss. I have him going in the second round to Miami. I picked 36, and now Miami can get some more weapons there, especially if they can get like a tight end Kyle Pitts in the first round, and then get Elijah. That's going to be pretty good weapons for Tua to get. My next best wide receiver, let's see, is Tyron Wallace from Oklahoma State. If you don't remember him, go watch his highlights. He's very good. He's the reason why the Oklahoma State offense had a passing attack of sorts from mediocre plays because he was there. I have him going in the third round to 67, and I have that being the first pick from Houston. Especially since they lost Will Fuller. I mean, and then they're still trying to replace DeAndre Hopkins from last year. So like this is a good option at wide receiver to get here to kind of replace those two. Can't make up for it completely, but it's something at least. My next wide receiver, and this is kind of underrated on one, is Diami Brown from UNC. I'm just trusting, like the draft analyst here, like because I haven't watched him play much and I don't know much about him, but apparently he's legit. So I have him going in the um, third round, and I have him going to the 85th pick with Tennessee. So I have him being the potential replacement to Corey Davis there. Let's see. My next wide receiver will not be until um, the sixth round, and I have that being Dax Milne from BYU. He's very under the radar. Most people will have him like sixth, seventh round, but I have him higher on my board. I feel like he's going to be next. Cole Beasley or Hunter Renfrow or something like that, where he can be a very good receiver for someone. I have him going in a sixth round, 194th pick to San Francisco. Um, and then that's it for my wide receivers. And there's other good positions like the running backs. I would say the top six, seven running backs are good. But then that kind of dies off. And then offensive line, there's obviously good ones for both offensive tackle and guard, but no, not like people care about those ones as much. And then I would say the top of corners is good, and then the top of linebackers is good. Better than that, there's actually not really a lot of depth at the defensive positions. So that's the reason why I'm not going to go over that one that much. So that's it for today. And then just a reminder, like right before the draft next week, I will go over my final mock draft and draft predictions. So be on the lookout for that. Well, thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel and tell everyone about me. Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful day.